Well, to talk about what influences me musically, I always really loved Phoebe Bridgers. I loved her production style on Punisher. I also take a lot of influence from people in Glasgow. There's a songwriter called Zoe Bestel, who I've always really looked up to. She's got such a beautiful soaring voice that's really inspired me. And there's also a band called Cloth, who do like minimalist guitar rock, which I really, really love. I love how like hypnotizing it can be. And I'm also quite inspired by minimalism as a whole, as a musical genre, but also a style out with music. The whole idea of minimalism is small changes over time. And I think that's what's most impactful, is when you think about that idea and you get something you really like and you just stick on it till it becomes really all-consuming, and just sort of change it really gradually over time until you don't realize that you've ended up somewhere totally different. I think I like to think of it as quite hypnotic. That's what I try and aim for anyway, is to sort of try and disarm people by, just putting them in, like what I was saying about minimalism, like something that feels really familiar, but it gradually takes you somewhere over time. My tutor described my music as conspiratorial, and my other tutor from college always said that it was very cryptic, which I like. I like to write my lyrics as if I've put them through Google Translate 100 times. And so they you can maybe understand what the feeling is, even if you don't understand the literal meaning. You can connect to the emotional meaning, and I think it makes it quite universal, even when the style is quite abstract, because the theme of the song is what people can connect to, and then it doesn't matter if you've not had the same experiences as me, because you probably felt the same feelings anyway. Well, I come from a really, really musical family, so it's always kind of just assumed that I would play something. I played violin when I was a kid, like my dad, but then I gave it up when I was a bit older and being a grumpy preteen. Then I started just teaching myself piano and just playing around, and then I enjoyed that a lot more because I sort of just explored it on my own pace. And then I had a few teachers here and there, but I mostly taught myself by like watching YouTube videos and just figuring it out by ear. So that's my main instrument, is piano, but I then also taught myself guitar in my bedroom, learning songs that I liked. The first song I learned on guitar was a Sleeping with Sirens song from their acoustic EP. I can't remember. If I'm James Dean, then you're Audrey Hepburn, I think was the name of it. I learned that one. And then that was in Dadgad open D tuning. And then that was me off writing a million songs after that. And then after school, I went to college. I studied songwriting, and then I went to UHI, and I just last month finished studying music there. And now I'm a self-employed keyboardist piano player. And I'm also in a lot of bands playing synth, and then have my own stuff as well. Kind of how I start a new song is I just need to find some sound that I feel like interests me or is different or I haven't really heard before, which is hard because pretty much everything's been done before, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to come up with something that feels totally new. So when I'm playing guitar, I usually invent some sort of new tuning, and I go in a weird path where I know, what chord I want to hear, but my hands can't reach it. So then I just start moving all the strings about until I've got it. And then the song kind of goes from there. And even though my main instrument is piano, I find it quite easier to write on guitar because I don't really know it very well, especially when change the tuning, the fretboard becomes totally different every time you do it. So then you can kind of surprise yourself, and it's a bit more of a mystery than playing piano, whereas I know piano so well, I know what it's going to sound like a lot of the time. So it's harder to be creative when I want to start from somewhere that is a bit like I'm a bit disoriented. So that's why I come up with a lot of different tunings. Try to think of it like I'm Joni Mitchell rather than like I don't know what I'm doing. Contrast, bitter, and longing. Just gone through a breakup a few months before, and it was like the first summer post-breakup, which is always really strange. I feel like summer is when my feelings are the strongest. And I was just like, the relationship I'd had, we'd spent a lot of time outdoors and up north in the Highlands, and I was sitting on the subway in Glasgow and just thinking about like how different our two lives had suddenly become when we weren't together anymore. And I was sitting on the subway feeling dirty and like city smog and sweaty from a whole day running about doing errands, and it was just, I came so far from where I'd been in that relationship, you know, spending all this time outside and enjoying nature. And so then the song kind of came about from that feeling of contrast and two people's lives that were so easily together at one point, and then as soon as they split, you're like, how did we ever do that? They suddenly seems so hugely different. So I wrote the song about that and about wishing that the divide just didn't suddenly feel so big when it had made sense, you know, not that long before. There's a lyric in the chorus I really like that goes, I want a callus-covered hand to warm my lower back, which is, I think, the one that most people tend to like. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Lyrics. Studio. Acoustic. Play by ear. Now. Right now. The 20s. Well, I'm gonna just keep gigging as much as I do. You know, I'll play for anybody who will have me on synths or keys or vocals or guitar or anything. And I'm really lucky to have a lot of work playing for people and playing at people's weddings this summer. So I'm doing a lot of that. I have a gig at the Glad Cafe on the 14th of July where I'm going to be playing my degree show, which is called Scrapbook Songs, which includes Day Dishevelled and a bunch of other songs that I wrote for uni, which kind of dive into the relationship between lyrics and harmony. So I'm doing that, and then I have a song coming out then called Sun in a Bowl, which has quite similar themes. And then I've got more music coming out in autumn, and my band Brittle are playing at a few festivals this summer as well. So lots of fun gigs to be playing.